Yo, I'm sure y'all remember this dude here, Mr. Men Are Always Wrong. Mr. Let me go out of my way, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Let me always say, no matter what the situation is, no matter what happened in any relationship or any marriage, it is always the men's fault. This was this dude's foundation to the brand he built. He would go on tours. It would be packed with women, especially ABWs, packed to the brim, front row full of heifers. And you can't tell me, in some cases, in some photos, it could be photoshopped or not, I don't know. Some live videos, you can kind of tell a lot of those women that were sitting in the front row and with those short ass skirts and dresses they had on, you can tell them bras didn't have no panties on. You can tell. Because you look at the brother, he works out, you know what I'm saying? He's about, I think he's about 6'4" or something like that. So he's the prototypical way that a lot of these women want a guy to look. And he built his brand sucking up to black women. They bought into it, hook, line, and sinker. They supported him, bought his books, watched his videos, supported all his content, followed him on Instagram. I'm not sure if he had a YouTube channel. I would just see video clips of him here and there, just dogging brothers out and always siding with the woman 99.9% of the time. And the 1% of the time that he showed any semblance of any kind of conscience as far as balance is concerned, when he started doing that was towards the end, before all the cheating came out. So up until that point, there was no balance. It was the women was always right and the men was always wrong. It's always your fault as a guy. Ladies, it's never your fault. No matter what they do, what they say. Oh, it's okay to be overweight, love. Stretch marks and all that. You can't control. Fair enough. So you can eat as much as you want to eat. These men should be able to handle you anyway. They should be able to nurture you and love you anyway. No matter what you do, no matter what you say. So what, you ate up all the dinner that he bought? That doesn't matter. It's not your fault. No. How dare he call you selfish? You're supposed to look out for yourself. You're a woman. I mean, just all kinds of just. And if you really listen to what he's saying and dissect what he was saying, you can tell it was a shtick. You could tell he was doing it for his brand. You can see past the things he was saying, look past what he was doing, and you can recognize, yo, this dude, this is a business decision for this dude. But you couldn't tell none of these ladies that. They would walk around quoting things that he would say, show us little videos and all that. But all that abruptly stopped when that cheating scandal came out, didn't it? And now what do you have here? Finally, he has come out and announced he's getting a divorce from his wife. It's gotten to the point where he's recently been in a photo with, I don't know if it's another woman he's been messing around with or the same woman that he cheated with before. But the jig is up. And you can see his house of cards eventually gonna fall. I mean, you've seen it coming. Everybody's seen it coming. Anybody with an objective mind and you able to not think in a hive mind and you're able to individualize and you're able to think for yourself, you've seen this coming. This is not a surprise. There was nothing surprising about this announcement. A lot of us seen it coming. We didn't know when, we didn't know how it was going to happen. But like I said, you saw the chinks in his armor when he started. The one time, and it's I don't know if it was last year or maybe a year and a half ago. The one time I came across a video where he actually gave a woman critique about the nonsense that she was talking. It was actually fair critique because she was just her thought. It was unrealistic what she was saying as far as what men should do and what men should put up with. It was to the point where it was like, lady, you probably need to be by yourself because what you're asking for is unrealistic. In the human nature, no human that has any self-respect for themselves will put up with that, with what you're asking. Even if you were like, even if you like women, even if you were a lesbian, I doubt that they would put up with your outlandish demands and concerns. And if you've noticed, fellas, a lot of the women, whether they supported Derrick Jaxn overtly or behind the scenes, and the ones that behind the scenes, they might not have talked about it out in the open or social media or whatever, but they supported this man. They followed this man. They agreed with him, his stance as far as the woman's always right. He might not have said it, but it's out of the same ideology is when some of these hoteps be talking about the black woman is God. Now, he never said anything like that, but his whole stance, his whole brand was chiseled out of that same mindset that the black woman is God. She should be revered. She's never wrong. Everything she asks, you should do. And if you can't do, you're not a man. Well, Mr. Derrick Jaxn, does this mean you are not a man because you cannot stick with your wife? According to your perceived ideology, which we're coming to find that you didn't believe a lot of the shit you was saying anyway. You was doing that for business purposes. It was all for the money. And this goes along. This can also be, you can actually take this to the hotep community also. The black woman is God community. A lot of them dudes don't believe half the stuff they be saying either. And they be doing the same thing. They spew this stuff out of their mind, knowing that the black community is like a dumping site. Every state has a dumping site where they take all the trash, like a big landfill where they had a whole bunch of trash. They got machines to grind up the plastic and the paper into like little balls, like little cubes of trash. That's what the black community is right now when it comes to the mentality, the ratchetness, the debauchery, the lies and deception. And the hoteps, who were basically the original Derrick Jaxns, they were just doing it to sell their little books, their little trinkets, and make their little profit. A lot of them do it to get some of that taco. They don't believe half the stuff they be saying either. Look at Brother Polite. He's a prime example. Didn't believe half the stuff he was saying, but he got rich from it. And it's coming back to bite him too in the end. And it always happens that way with these type dudes. They lie and grift their way into financial status and success, build and gain a humongous following. Now all of a sudden, it's not you, the man, who is spewing the words. The words are now creating you as the man. You're no longer yourself. You are the words that you're speaking. And now you have to be those words. You have to live up to the words that are coming out of your mouth. And a lot of these dudes fold under that pressure because that's never been who they truly were to begin with. And over time, they slowly start to unravel. Like a piece of thread on a garment. Pinch it with your index and your thumb, and you start to pull. And then the fibers starts to stretch, and all of a sudden there's a little hole in a spot where the fibers used to be intact because the garment is unraveling. And if you keep pulling, the more it will unravel until it completely goes to pieces. There's nothing left. It's just one long string, because at some point the string is going to break, but it's still going to be a shorter string, and then you keep pulling it. All of a sudden you have multiple pieces of string on the ground that used to be a complete garment. And that's how these hoteps and these suck-ups, business simps, because that's really what Derrick Jaxn was. He was a business simp. He didn't truly believe what he was saying, but from business purposes, he went all in on the simp side. He discovered, I can be a super simp and become rich. Let me marry this woman who, I don't know when they met. Maybe he felt she was a nice person. It's like, I can get along with her. Maybe they've been together a while. I don't know. I don't know much about why he married her, but it was definitely a great business move to come onto the scene, married to a woman who, let's face it, you wouldn't look at her and be like, man, she could have definitely been a supermodel if she wanted to. You wouldn't view her like that. She's a decent looking, nice looking, regular black woman. That's basically all it is. Nothing special, nothing to write home about. But see, that's what happens when you got these guys who are grifters in nature. That's what Derrick Jaxn was. And black women are very quiet all of a sudden. For some strange reason, none of them have anything to say. No comments, no thoughts, nothing. Because they're superhero. The man who told them that there's nothing wrong with them. They have to do nothing to improve themselves. They have to do nothing in order to improve their relationships, their marriages. They don't have to do anything. Because it's always the man's fault, ladies. And you bought into it because a lot of you live in a self-proposed delusion anyway. You see things for what you want them to be instead of the reality. of the situation. And a lot of you grow up watching TV shows. Some of you grow up watching cartoons like Snow White and these Cinderella type stories, and you buy into that. That molds your mind at a young age when you're an adolescence. Then you grow up and you start viewing the world the same way. Movies cater to your thoughts. Romantic novels are written by a lot of women who, in their mind, this is how they want certain interactions with guys to play out. You guys have a whole movie manuscript in your minds as far as how you want your relationship lives to go. When you meet a guy, what would he think? How would he act? When he's not with me, what is he thinking? What is he doing? In your mind, you've created a whole movie franchise. And then at the end of the movie, that's the climax. That's the romantic thought that you feel. This is what you want. At the end, he gets you after you turn him down so many times and you act nonchalant and I don't know if I want to be with him. The mind games that you attempt to play in your novel. You actually, a lot of you ladies try to live that out in real life because of how you grew up, playing with your little dolls in the doghouse. Thinking to yourself, one day I'm gonna meet my Prince Charming, and we're gonna live in a big house like this dollhouse right here. So you're already setting up the building blocks to have that mindset. And you get older and you have movies that cater to the same Cinderella type story. Different characters. They might look different, act different, talk different. There's different materialistic things that are available to you. Modern cars, modern mansions, and stuff like that. This is what a lot of the reality shows, the messages they would push to the women. As far as the relationship shows, Love and Hip Hop, Housewives of Atlanta. And with those shows would usher in, even though they would show spouses and the different dynamics and different conversations, arguments that they would have, subvertly they were shows like Housewives of Atlanta was basically the Trojan horse for feminism in the black community, because a lot of them would talk about how strong and independent they are, and they would go through relationships. One season, woman would be with this guy, and that season's over. She don't want to be with that guy anymore because that was basically a business decision anyway, business relationship that probably ended 2-3 episodes into the season, but because it's business, so let's drag it on. Let's see where it goes. And then the season's over with, that guy's gone. Next season comes along, new guy inserted. And that just build on the psychology of a lot of women that's the thing to do. Then you usher it in through hip hop. Stripper culture becomes popular. Oh, you mean strippers can rap now? First one, if I'm not mistaken, was Trina, I think. Oh, she used to be a stripper, now she's rapping. Okay. Then you have, I don't think Nicki Minaj was a stripper, But she came through with that stripper crazy woman vibe with the all the different color hairs and got the BBL, and now she's out there and doing her thing and she's getting rich. And then as her light starts to dim, then you have Cardi B comes on the scene, openly acknowledging and embracing that, yo, yeah, I was a stripper, I did this and that. I used to drug men and rob them and rape them, allegedly, because, we don't know. We weren't there, so allegedly, who knows? But in the video, it came out of her mouth, so, you would think she would know, speaking about herself, but, we don't know. And now you got Meg Thee Stallion. It's just a constant stream of morphing of thought and ideology that has not only destroyed dating, it has played a big role in destroying the black community as a whole, the mentality of the black community as a whole. And you still have these grifters like a Derrick Jaxn, who obviously built his empire based off business, kissing up, sucking up to black women. But you can only hide behind that mask for so long. And as we are all witnessing right now, the house of cards has come crashing down. And he knew this towards the end when he first cheated. He knew it was coming to an end. And now he's out in the open filing for divorce. The simp superhero that ABWs worshipped and damn near kissed the ground this man walked on, could do no wrong. He could say no wrong. He always agrees with us. He understands us womans. Why can't you dudes be more like Derrick Jaxn? See, you can only front for so long. And ladies, you need to learn how to step away from your childhood, adolescence thinking in regards to relationships and reality, really. You guys swim in fantasy land pools too much. Real life does not work that way. I want a man with 6 figures, 6-pack abs, swole, got the swag, multi-millionaire, at least 6 figures or more. Well, when you get those guys, as long as you know you're going to share, go for it. But you never ask yourself the simple question, why would that guy just be with you and you alone if he has all that? And when we used to ask women this question a lot, the guy that will always pop up in their head is a Derrick Jaxn phenotype. Derrick Jaxn himself. Well, look at Derrick Jaxn. He's that. He's married. His wife looks okay. And now you see the truth, the real truth. That was all a facade. Men that have all those things that the majority of women out there claim they want, if you get with those guys, as long as you understand, it's going to be the equivalent of standing in a supermarket at the deli, take a number, and shut your mouth and wait your turn. And I wasn't going to get on here too long. It's a Sunday morning, I had this on the noggin, and I just had to speak on it. I had to say something. Like, good Lord. And what's hilarious to me is how quiet black women are right now about this. Maybe it's just me, but I don't. You could come across at the zenith of Derrick Jaxn and his symbology. You could come across random black women on the internet champion his cause and everything that he's saying. You didn't even have to look for it. It would pop up on accident. You could be on Twitter just scrolling, minding your own business, and a random video of a black woman will pop up champion Derrick Jaxn like, oh, he is the truth. Everything he says is gospel, and you men need to follow suit. Where y'all at now? I can't hear y'all. Should we still follow suit? Is he still the gospel? No? It's very interesting. It just goes to show you that delusion from playing with Barbies to watching the reality shows before that, watching Snow White, all those romantic cartoons and TV shows growing up. Like, oh, this is how the relationship dynamic is supposed to work, huh? Let me go out and wait for that mysterious man to bump into me at the grocery store. Maybe we end up at the same parking meter, and for some reason he's confused and he needs help. Is this parking meter for my car? And no, that's for my car. Oh, okay. And a conversation just sparks out of nowhere, and all of a sudden we're in a hot, romantic, festive encounter. We're not really in a relationship yet. We're just getting to know each other. Who knows? Just you guys have a whole program in your mind. Before the Marvel Universe existed, before 50 Cent's Power Universe existed, you guys had the romance verse in your mind, how things should go, how different characters will play a part in your lives as a backdrop to you meeting Mr. Perfect. That's who you think is out there. And a lot of you thought Derrick Jaxn was that. That's why you would always quote everything he would say. You would go to all his shows, sit in the front row with no drawers on. No different than in the church with the pickle pig foot preacher, the pastor's prime pulpit pimp. all up in the front row, in front of the pool pit, with no drawers on, 'cause you know how Pastor likes it. It's the same thing. Derrick Jaxn just wasn't talking about God. He was talking about relationships, but it was the same. He hooked y'all the same way. Treated y'all like a bass fish on a fishing boat. Threw the line out with the worm. Pause. A lot of y'all couldn't wait to jump out of the water on that boat. It's like, damn, that fishing hook. I'm going to just jump on the boat. But anyway, I just wanted to get on here and talk about this shit for a few minutes. I'm about to get my NFL preparation on for this Sunday. You know what I'm saying? Check out my sorry ass Bears. Fuck you if you don't like them. I'm still ride with my team. Justin Fields is the truth. And y'all better hope he don't get no talent around him, because good Lord. Put an offensive line around him and some weapons and a halfway decent defense. Good night. I'll holler at y'all later. If y'all like my content, yo, like, share, and subscribe. Hit the Cash App, $, Cobra Clutch 357.